Hi everyone, I'm Eva Lutsenko. I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and this is my In the Bag 2024, brought to you by Squatch. So first, we're going to start with my putting putters. Currently, I'm putting with two different putters right now, the DX Invader and the Nexus Invader. I prefer the Nexus Invader because it flies dead straight. I just love the tackiness, the feel, and it always makes me feel confident. I really like that it's glidey because I'm more of a push putt, not really a spin putt, and these putters have been doing so good for me. I love them so much. Moving on to the next approaches. This is my Chariot Invader. Shout out to Calvin Heimberg. This disc has been in my bag for literal centuries. I throw this everywhere. I don't really throw it too often on a forehand. I'm mostly throwing it on a backhand. It's pretty flippy. I'm usually throwing on a little flip up or like a gliding high ante shot. Moving up in stability, we got my Aviar X3. I'm super excited to present this one because it is literally my favorite disc in my approach slot right now. I'm so comfortable with it. I've gotten so many fairway aces with this disc. I just love it so much. Most of the time I'm throwing it on a forehand, usually like a little anhyzer or hyzer, and I throw it on backhands a lot too, just like a flat shot or maybe a little bit of ante. It's a really good disc. I really love it. Also, shout out to Ida from Norway for recommending this disc. I don't know what I would do without you. And lastly, the most stable approach in my bag is the Calvin Heimberg Toro. Shout out to Throwjos. I love this stamp so much. This is a pretty stable disc. I'm usually throwing it on a little forehand, hyzer. If it's like an open field, 140 feet away, I'm just gonna throw a little hyzer, forehand, or maybe a little backhand hyzer. It's a really good disc. It's been in my bag for a while now, and I'm super comfortable with it. This is probably the approach that fights to win the best in my bag. Moving on to the mid-ranges, I got a really fun one for you. This is my Rolo. This is the Star Rolo. I don't really throw it that often, but if it's not in your bag, then you're not having fun on the disc golf course. Moving on, we got something similar but a little bit more stable, my Wombat. Shout out to Throwjos too. This disc is so good. I was throwing it everywhere at Worlds. One of the reasons I love this disc so much, especially in the woods, because I can flip it up and have it dragging to the right the entire way. This disc will probably be in my bag for a really long time. This is super reliable and I love it so much. As long as I don't lose it, it's gonna be in my bag forever. Next we have my DN Carey Mako. Shout out to DN Carey. She is literally the reason I won Worlds and US Women's. This disc is the reason, I'm not even joking. She signed it, it says DN Carey, nice win. I got it right after US Women's. This disc, I used to throw it a lot more, but now it's starting to get a little flippy for me. Usually I'm throwing it down, it's like a tunnel shot, and I just have to throw it flat, and it'll glide its way all the way to the basket. Usually I'm flipping it up, and it's just such a good disc. I don't know what I would do without it. Next we have my favorite mid-range disc in my bag right now. This is the Chariot. Shout out to Throwjos again. My last tournament, I was throwing this on every single hole. I don't know what I would do without this disc. It's basically a J, but it feels like a Mako, and that's one of the reasons I love it so much. I'm usually throwing it on a flat shot, and it kind of fades to the left a little bit, or I'm throwing it on a little bit of ante and just glides its way to the basket. Next we have my Rock X3, which stands for extra stable. Shout out to Throwjos again. You guys have the coolest stamps. It's also signed by Calvin Heimberg. This disc is actually so cool, and when I'm like throwing it, I feel so confident because of just how cool the stamp is. I have Calvin Heimberg's signature on it. It just makes me feel so confident. It's a really stable disc. Usually I'm throwing it on a lot of ante and it still fights its way. I love it so much. It's really good for headwinds too. Moving on to drivers, we got my Sidewinders. So this one is a little bit more flippy. I'm throwing these on forehands all the time. This is my favorite forehand disc. The Sidewinder is just such a good forehand disc for me. Usually I'm throwing this 160 Sidewinder on a little hyzer and it flip up and always find its way to the basket. This is my bomber forehand disc. I can also probably flip this up, but it's a smash if I'm gonna be flipping this disc up. Shout out to Throwjos too. I was throwing this disc on a lot of forehands at my last tournament, This disc is so good, and I just love the colors and the stamp, and get yourself a Sidewinder. Moving on to my favorite disc in the bag. I have 4 of these discs. I have the Mambas. I have a Mamba in every single weight. I have the 150 weight. Shout out to Throjo's. I have, this is one of my ace discs. This is my 175 Mamba. Also shout out to Throjo's. This is my World's Mamba, also 175. And this is probably my most trusted one. This is 167. I'm usually throwing this on like every single hole. I can still flip it up and it'll bomb forever. Most of the time I'm throwing this 147 Mamba if there's like a crazy tailwind or I just need something to bomb on a little, like a flip up. And these Mambas I'm super comfortable with. I love this weight, I'm really comfortable with too. They're pretty stable. Usually if I'm throwing it flat, it'll still fight its way left. And yeah, I love these. I love the Mamba. Go get yourself one, please. So next we have my Tern. I don't know what I would do without this disc. Also, shout out to Throjo's. I absolutely love this stamp. I don't know what I would do without this disc. I'm not even joking. This is the reason I won Worlds. I threw this on almost every single hole. It's so good for those little Anheuser shots, and it fades its way to the basket. But this disc is just such a good disc. I can bomb it. Yeah, I don't know what I would do without it. Moving on to the more stable guys, we got the Firebird and the Destroyer. So we got 2 Firebirds right here. Shout out to Throjo's and Kat Merch, Kelvin Heinberg, and Jennifer Allen. I love you guys. I absolutely love the Firebird so much. It is so good for a forehand. I don't know what I would do without it. I prefer a more flat top for the Firebirds, not really the pop top. It's just more comfortable for me. These are really stable. Usually I'm throwing it on like a chop Annie or I'm throwing it on a hyzer skip shot. Last but not least, we have my Throjo's Destroyer. This stamp is so cute. I love it so much. This disc is so good. So this is a little bit more glidey than the Firebird. I'm usually throwing this on a backhand, and I can absolutely bomb this disc. This is one of my more max distance throwing discs. I can probably, if the basket is close to 350 feet, then I'm throwing this disc on that hole. So I'm usually throwing my Firebirds on a forehand, and I'm throwing this on a backhand. Well guys, this wraps it up. Thank you for watching my In the Bag 2024 brought to you by Squatch. I hope to see you guys all at my upcoming tournaments and obviously the big ones next year. And if you haven't already, please give this video a like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. Thank you again, Squatch, for making this happen. I love you guys!